What is going on, guys? Tony Hannity's here, and welcome to Tony's Tech Talk episode 18, recorded on June 18th, 2014. Today has been an extremely busy day, especially when it comes to technology and press events. There are actually three, count them, three press events that occurred, actually two in one city, and then one here in San Francisco, I think. Maybe it wasn't a press event or just an announcement, but essentially what we're talking about here is Adobe announced some new updates to apps as well as hardware, which kind of came out of left field, and then of course the T-Mobile announcement and the Amazon announcement. So chronologically speaking, we should go Amazon, Adobe, and then T-Mobile, but because the first former and the latter were kind of like the big deals, let's start off with the Adobe event. Like I mentioned, they had some updates to some of their apps. So I know there's an update to Lightroom if you have it on iOS, or maybe it's brand new to iOS. Honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know. I didn't really read up into that too much. But what really did catch my eye was the fact that Adobe is now providing hardware specific to iPad apps, one called Adobe Sketch and the other one called Adobe Line. So if you're watching the video, and because I'm not doing an audio recording later on, of course you're watching the video. So as I mentioned, they have these two new apps, Sketch and Line, and they work coincided with the new pen and ruler, I guess. The pen is called the Ink, and the ruler is called the Slide. So this is the Mashable video here, and if I scroll down, here's their gallery to kind of give you an idea. So this is the pen in the portable charger and carrying case, and there's, well, that's retail packaging. And the pen is Bluetooth, and when you use it with Adobe Line, it has all the different pressure sensitivity about it, so you can have thicker lines, thinner lines, and then with the Slide, when you put that on Adobe Line, that will act as a ruler, so you can have a picture perfect and very, well, perfect line, I guess, if you will. And on screen, when you draw on it, the ink, if you will, from your Adobe Ink or the pen will automatically cling or be subjectified to go along the dotted line within the app. So you'll always have a perfect line or perfect square or perfect circle, or even for some reason they have different shapes, including a chair, I think. So this is definitely a tool for the creative individual, especially for you architects out there that need to draw that, well, that perfect line, that square, whatever shape it may be. And at $200 for the both of this, of course, if you're an iPad user, this is going to be a no-brainer. Now you can use other things, like right here is actually an ad on the right here for a Donut Jot. The Jot Touch is actually one of my favorite stylus to use on an iPad, and I've used the Donut products before, and with very high expectation, and they met my expectation. But this from Adobe, seeing as that this is not only hardware but also software that is supposed to work in conjunction with each other and only works with each other, really, you would assume that this is going to be the best of both worlds. Well, first of all, the software itself is still quite buggy, according to a number of reviewers, but it is, as Adobe said, version 1.0.0.0. So in future iterations and updates, you'll be able to do other things with it as well as filling in. Like, for example, there are a lot of apps right now where if you just want to fill in the whole area that's boxed off with a particular color or shade, you'd be able to do that, but for whatever reason with the Adobe Ink, it doesn't let you fill in. You actually have to draw it, which in some case I guess you get that visceral experience where, you know, you would have to actually draw the lines, the shading, just like you would if you were to use pen and paper. But now that we're in the digital age, it would be kind of nice if you just did want to have a flat red, just to say, just make this side red, and just be done with it. So I don't know if I mentioned, but like I've thought before, but I'll say it again. This is going to cost $200 for the both, and you can order it right now from Adobe's website, adobe.com. And if this is something that is of interest to you, let us know. It'd be very interesting to see what other case scenarios are out there, because everybody that has seen this is saying architects, graphic designers, and that might be it. I mean, Adobe does some great applications that a lot of architects and graphic designers use, especially with like AutoCAD and 3D imagery and things like that. So it makes sense, but the fact that they put so much R&D into this, there might be somebody else out there that is saying, oh, I need this for car design, which I guess is it's architecture in the form of automotive, or boat design, or anything that is like illustrative, where you need that perfect line, or you really want to have that pen to paper experience that you don't get maybe with an Adobe Jot Pro or some of the other like cheaper stylists that are out there. This could coincidentally be seen as Adobe's reaction to the Surface Pro 3, which is interesting because they revealed the new Photoshop optimized for touch, especially with Windows 8, at the Surface Pro 3 events, seeing as that the Surface Pro 3 has the new, well, not new, but they use N-Trig technology, which is similar with this Bluetooth connection and 250 points of pressure. It's a very fine tip pen. It feels like a pen instead of a stylus. And now Adobe is basically saying, okay, that's cool, Microsoft, but this is what we can do on another platform, aka iOS, iPad. So it'll be cool to see who kind of wins on that, because both of these companies are essentially hardware, or rather software companies now making hardware. So it'll be interesting to see who wins out in the end, because I'm sure a lot of these graphic designers are already using iPads, so now they just have to spend $200. Whereas with the Surface Pro 3, as awesome as it is, it's going to be at least $900 inclusive of the keyboard and whatnot. But hey, we'll see how that pans out in the next couple of weeks as the Surface Pro 3 goes on sale later on this week on Friday. So that's going to be very exciting. All right, so let's get to the nitty-gritty. The first event that was that happened today, but it was not live streamed, as I mentioned on the LTG show, was the Amazon event. So Jeff Bezos got on stage. Let's turn this off. Jeff Bezos got on stage. I don't know what the venue is, but he got on stage somewhere, and he said, basically very much in the Steve Jobsian kind of way, this is what we've done to the consumer. This is what the consumer likes. These are our numbers, essentially. Sorry about that. This is something that we're very excited to reveal, that Amazon is in a perfect point to reach out to the customer and be the not the cash register, but essentially that's what they're trying to say. Be that point of sale, not only on the tablet but also on the phone, because what you carry in your pocket all the time is a phone. So they did reveal the Amazon Fire Phone, and I was kind of hoping they would have the word Fire as a PH, but that actually is terrible marketing. But yeah, they call it the Fire Phone, and you know what? It looks okay. It's a black rectangular slab. It actually has Gorilla Glass on the front and the back. And some people aren't too fond of that. Some people have actually mentioned Gorilla Glass 3 isn't all that it's cracked up to be. Case in point, we have a number of Nexus 5 users, and the Nexus 5 has Gorilla Glass, and we have a lot of Nexus 5 with cracked or broken screens. I guess that could happen to any screen, but in any case, this is still running Android. It's the forked Android. It's actually called Fire OS. So in some case, you could say this is another operating system that is competing in this ever competitive mobile market. You've got iOS, Android, Fire OS, well, not Web OS anymore, BlackBerry, Firefox OS or whatever it's called in Mozilla. I don't know, but in any event, in Windows Phone. And what's really interesting about this is that part of the software here, they revealed a brand new, I guess, integrated application called Firefly. Now, I don't know if I have a video demonstrating Firefly. If you haven't yet seen it, but before we go into Firefly itself, let's just kind of run down on the specifications of the phone. So first and foremost, it is a 4.7-inch IPS LCD HD display. It's HD, but it's 720p. At 4.7 inches, that's about the same size as a Moto X, and the Moto X is also 720p. And for the most part, people with the Moto X have been fairly happy with that resolution. You know, anything bigger or better and crisper than that may or may not have made the overall user experience that much better. But for what it is, you know, 720 isn't too bad. We're looking at about 5.64 ounces, a 2.2 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 800 CPU with an Adreno 330 GPU and 2 gigs of RAM. Also on the rear is a 13 megapixel camera that actually has HDR, optical image stabilization, which is very, very important, and obviously a LED flash, and on the front a 2.1 megapixel camera. It's running Fire OS 3.5.0, and storage offers 32 gigs or 64 gigs. There's no additional memory slot or anything like that. Battery is about 2,400 milliamps. Does do 1080p video recording, Dolby Digital Plus surround sound. It does support screen mirroring and second screen, so if you're using things like Amazon Instant Video through your Fire TV and you're using it over the Wi-Fi connection, assumingly your phone would notice this, and then if you're watching things like Game of Thrones or what have you, you can see all the actors on your phone. I forget what they call it. I think it's called X-Ray or IMDb X-Ray. That's actually really, really cool feature, because I don't know how many times like you've watched a TV show, it's like, where have I seen that actor from? Well, if you have the IMDb X-Ray, you could just look down on your phone and it tells you right there and then. And then all the other stuff, you know, GPS, Bluetooth, yada, 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 bing, bang, boom. So that's cool. No USB 3.0, which is kind of interesting. This is going to be exclusive here in the United States first. Unfortunately, those of you that are in other countries, for whatever reason, the Kindles just don't get sold. I'm sure there's ebook reader legality issues with that. Also, just goes a little bit beyond my pay grade. But yeah, right now this is going to be exclusive not only to the United States but also to AT&T. And if you're looking to get it at AT&T, you'll be able to pick this up at $199 on a 2-year contract, or $299 also on a 2-year contract, depending on which internal memory that you want, 32 or 64 respectively. But if you rather have a contract, you can get it for $650 or $750. So taking into account, Amazon is kind of the place where we have kind of expected them to give crap away. Like the Fire TV is $100, not too bad. The Kindle Fire, when it first came out, I think it was the first $200 tablet. That was pretty amazing, and we've kind of expected Amazon to take a hit on the cost because they would make it up in the back end when you buy stuff through their apps or through their store. And you know, that may or may not have been okay with people like the stockholders. You know, stockholders want to see their returns on investment come a lot quicker than waiting it out for the long run. So using the same subsidized mentality where, you know, the cost of the phone is X amount to make it, we're going to sell it for this amount, we're going to have this amount of profit and actually have profit, is probably a better bet for Amazon. Also considering that this is very new. Now, if you're really into the Amazon ecosystem, there's no question, you know, especially if you already have a Kindle Fire, a Fire TV, a Kindle Paperwhite, all that other stuff. There's no question that you aren't going to get this. But for the most of us geeks, the Fire and the Kindle's kind of forked Android experience, we've always kind of looked at it as you know, the I don't want to say stepchild because I have a stepchild and he's awesome, but the redhead people are cool too. So I don't want to say redheaded stepchild. What should I say? The weird guy down the street. That's what we kind of looked at the Amazon kind of Android experiences. The weird guy down the street, like he's got cool things. He's got like model airplanes, and he's got all the Star Wars collections and all these like mint in box Transformers. But he's still kind of weird, and you don't necessarily want to like go hang out with him. But in the true Google Android experience, you also have all that stuff and more. So what this sets the Fire phone apart from all the other Android devices that are out there, I haven't even talked about. What sets it aside is hardware-wise, it does have those 4 additional infrared cameras on the front. So we thought that had to do with like 3D kind of holographic technology. We were wrong. What it is actually what they call dynamic perspective. Now, we've already kind of seen this on a number of phones already. What it basically means is that you can look at maps, for example, and kind of peek around the corner, and as you peek and turn the phone, you'll see on-screen information that you wouldn't have noticed if you just looked straight at your phone. So it's actually kind of using this parallax kind of way where it knows where your eyes are, it knows what you're looking at, and it shows you different information based off of how you're looking at the phone. So I've already mentioned this in a past podcast, either here on the on the LTG show, where if you're on the train or something and you accidentally just kind of, I don't know, make your wrist limp, all of a sudden you're looking at something completely different. It's going to be a different kind of experience when I actually have this phone in hand. But based off of what I've seen from other videos on The Verge and Engadget, it works pretty well. I just know that there's going to be a number of complaints. There's also already been complaints with iOS 7 with the whole kind of parallax thing where you can turn your iPad or your iPhone and the background is moving. And it's kind of cool, but some people have this weird vertigo experience or they're getting motion sickness. So through an update, now you can actually turn that off on iOS if you don't like it. But this kind of has that same kind of experience. One thing that they did mention is that it is open as an SDK. So if you're a developer, like a game developer, for example, and you think having that as a part of your game will enhance the overall experience for the gamer or the user, then you can definitely take advantage of this, which makes this a little bit more tantalizing for game developers or just developers in general, because it does set it aside from just your run-of-the-mill Android. So that's one thing that's really interesting. I'm not sure what the game was that they were demonstrating, but basically it was a top-down view, and your character had to go through a maze, and you can actually tilt the phone to kind of see what's on the wall around your character. So top-down just looked like a standard maze, like maybe like a Pac-Man maze, if you will. But then if you tilt the phone, then you can actually see what's on the wall, and you saw like different doors, windows, other things. So it was actually pretty cool seeing that kind of demonstration. What it reminded me was when you're playing like a side-scroller like Mario Brothers, you're kind of trying to do this to make your character go faster. You're trying to see if you can, I don't know, somehow look around the corner. That's what this would allow you to do if someone puts it into the game. So I got to admit, that's kind of cool. One other thing that they also mentioned was Firefly, not the TV show. It ain't coming back. I'm sorry, as much as I want it to come back, I doubt Joss Whedon's going to do anything, at least officially. Just go watch it on Netflix and cry like I do every time I realize it's never coming back. Firefly is a new exclusive feature to the Fire phone, which is kind of a combination of Google Glass. In my kind of Google world, it's a combination of Google Glass, Google Now, and Google Goggles, if you haven't downloaded that, but much gooder. Gooder? Much better, much more well done. Essentially, you can scan not only barcodes with it, which everyone has that, but now you can scan really quickly. You could scan a phone number or a website, and almost immediately it'll say, okay, do you want to call it? Do you want to go to the website? It'll take a picture of it. It's a lot better at recognizing certain things. And so, for example, you could take a picture of, oh, I don't know, like this lens here, and maybe it'll recognize and say, oh, do you want to buy that lens? Because we've got the lens on Amazon. And that's why Firefly needs to be the it-all, be-all kind of hub where you would go to find information. Not going to Google or Bing. Like, Amazon wants you to say, oh, like, what is that? Is that the Eiffel Tower? You take a picture of the Eiffel. Oh, it is the Eiffel Tower, and they have a model on Amazon where I could buy the Eiffel Tower. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, let me go ahead and do that. And there's a lot of other features that Firefly offers, but what was really impressive to me was how quick it did it. I mean, there's a lot of these third-party or even Amazon's own barcode scanner app on the Amazon app. It's a little sluggish. I mean, obviously it depends on how quick your network connection is going to be. And with AT&T, it's going to be interesting. That's my own opinion. But yeah, this is definitely something, again, that sets it aside from some of the other Android apps, rather Android devices that are out there. Because, well, there's no other device out there that is really a cash register. I mean, like I said, Google has Google Goggles, and through Google Goggles you can do some kind of shopping, and there's also a really cool feature where it can solve your Sudoku puzzle for you, which is cheating, but it's also kind of cool that it can do it in a way. But it's, Google itself hasn't really updated it since 2012, maybe. I mean, it's been a long time. So the fact that Amazon's really trying to bring back the whole scanning capability, not just for their own benefit, but for the benefit of the user to scan business cards, to scan websites, to get phone numbers a lot quicker, that's really awesome. Another cool feature, which I've actually tried, is Mayday. Now, Maydays have been available on their HDX tablet, and you can just click a button and say, help, I don't know what to do, I'm completely lost. For us geeks, Mayday is kind of a joke because we already know what to do. We probably know more than the Mayday person themselves. But for grandma, for anybody else that's not as technically savvy as we are, Mayday is going to be a huge help because Amazon doesn't really have a place. They don't have a brick and mortar store. I mean, yes, you could go to Best Buy. There are Amazon Kindle reps there that could explain things to you, and the Best Buy reps also are very knowledgeable. Or anywhere else like Staples or Office Depot, anywhere Kindle Fires and Kindles are sold, and now the AT&T store. But you don't want to have to leave your home or leave your office. So the ability to click a button and within 15 seconds you'd see an on-screen video of somebody that you're talking to live, and they will be able to help you through your phone or your tablet, depending on whatever it is that you need to do. They'll draw on your screen for you, and at any point you can take back control and shut down the video. Now, for you nasty people out there and you want to take your shirt off and show people what you got going on, they can't see you. Only you can see them. And if that was something that they were really adamant about pointing out the last time that they announced Mayday. So, yeah, you can't try to be all cool and suave because he or she ain't going to see you. You're just going to sound weird, and they'll probably shut down the conversation anyway. Mayday will work over Wi-Fi, but also over 3G or 4G, it's absolutely free. I'm assuming. And I guess assumption is incorrect, but I do believe I read it somewhere that even if you are on 3G or 4G, it will not count against your data allotment. So that's really, really cool. And that's available at 24/7. Amazon Prime is free for a year. Now, I don't know if this means that you have to be brand new to Amazon. No, I think it just means even if you have an Amazon Prime account, you basically get a free year of Amazon Prime with the Amazon phone. Now, one thing I am questioning is, when you buy the phone, you try it out. If you don't like it and you return it, does Amazon know that you returned it and thus they cancel your free year of Amazon Prime? Because if they don't, then that's the easiest way to get a free year of Amazon Prime. Or maybe there's just a piece of paper in the box that says just type in this code for a free year of it. So if that's the case, also go find someone who's buying an Amazon phone and say, look over there, take the piece of paper and run, and then you get a free year of Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime's awesome. They just announced Amazon Prime Music or whatever they call it, so that's cool. Good, kudos to you. And then the 13 megapixel camera on the back, it doesn't do 4K or anything like that, but it does take really nice photos, apparently in low light, which in their demonstration they're comparing it to low light pictures shot by the Galaxy S5 and the iPhone 5S. And we both know, and when I say both of us, I mean me and the whole audience, all 7 of you, something like that. Hi guys. That the Galaxy S5 or whatever, it's not good in low light, and I like to see how these cameras compare in the daytime. Like, let's have a real photo off, if you will. But what I'm getting to is that, where do these all get stored? Because yeah, you can store them on your phone, 32 or 64 gigabytes. But now Amazon is allowing you to have unlimited cloud storage for the photos specifically taken on the phone itself. So you have cloud storage right now. I don't know, you know this. You do. And I guess they'll just open up another folder specific to the photos that you take, and then through your app on the phone, or I guess through the portal on the internet, on the browser rather, and then you can kind of select which ones you want to keep and which one you want to throw away. But it's unlimited storage, so it's kind of like Google Plus. If you didn't know this, on Google Plus you can upload photos to Google Plus at standard definition, not like full res, not full high definition, not raw. And it's still good quality, and it's unlimited storage. So that's another way for Amazon to kind of compete against Google in this kind of ecosystem battle, if you will. And there's a ton more that was announced also. Explaining the parallax kind of the demo that they mentioned. It's kind of hard to explain. You kind of have to see it, but don't worry about not seeing it in person. Like, you know how sometimes, like, when you see 3D phones, you can't really get the experience unless you're there holding the 3D. This isn't 3D. It's well, like I said, they call it dynamic perspective. So you'll be able to see a really good demonstration of it. So check out The Verge, obviously. You can watch the whole. I think you can watch the whole event. No, you can't. The Verge and a bunch of others. CNET did a video of it as well too, so you can kind of see how it all pans out, how it all works. So that's real kosher and awesome. So let's go ahead real quick, and we will take a look at our Q&A, see if anybody has any questions. No questions at the moment. So yeah, if you're watching live right now, just so you know, the Q&A is open. So if you're unsure about something, if I kind of glossed over something and you heard like, hey, I thought there was Prime Data, what's all about that? They didn't say anything about Prime Data. There's no such thing about Prime Data. That was a rumor that speculated that if you're using an Amazon app or Amazon service and it required a data connection, you would not be charged. This was AT&T's first step into sponsored data. And Amazon's not doing that. The only thing that Amazon is doing, I guess, for free is using Mayday, and that's it. And Mayday is, the interaction that you're going to have with the Mayday person, I doubt is going to go over 5 minutes. So it's not like you can really do anything with it. So yeah, that was cool. But I think the bigger event, at least for me personally, and I will say I was really looking forward to the T-Mobile event. Only because I'm really on the fence whether I want to stay with Verizon, which I've been with for many years, or actually jump ship to T-Mobile. And I kind of knew that this event would just really kind of make or break the decision for me. I think the only last decision that I have to make is what phone I'm going to get. And at the moment, I'm really just waiting for the LG G3 to finally be launched here in the United States. Nevertheless, the announcements that T-Mobile made today, even if the G3 didn't come to T-Mobile, God, that'd be so stupid if it didn't. But if it didn't, let's just say, in a very not perfect world, if it did not go to T-Mobile, I would still go to T-Mobile because this announcement that they made today was really kind of cool and really hit home for me. So first of all, there was two Uncarrier events today rolled into one. There was Uncarrier 5.0 and Uncarrier 6.0. So Uncarrier 5.0, if I can pull up the correct slide, there's kind of a twofer. So first off, they're going to do something called the 7-night stand. So before you start taking your pants off, it's not that. Well, I guess it could be that, but it's not that. Uncarrier 5.0 7-night stand basically says that you are able to test drive an iPhone 5S on the T-Mobile network for free for 7 days, and that includes the weekends. How does this work? So, if you're watching the video, again, I know you are, you will head over to tmobile.com/test drive, and it's going to bring you, well, actually, it didn't bring me to the right place. Let's go to the right place, test drive. Here we go. All right, so we got these two guys introducing T-Mobile Test Drive. Now, does this sound familiar, Verizon Test Drive? It's not the same, but it is the same, where you can basically test out the network. But this is even better than the Verizon Test Drive, in my opinion, because with the Verizon Test Drive, you had to fill out the whole contract and everything. This one doesn't seem like there's any kind of contract, except for the fact they do put a $750 hold on your credit card in the event you take the cell phone and never return it. So you do need to sign up. You do need to put your credit card on file. And also, if you do return the phone to one of the T-Mobile locations in your area and the phone itself is damaged, they will charge you $100. They won't charge you $750, but they will still charge you $100. So you don't want to use the phone as a burner phone for the next 7 days. You want to be very, very careful with it. But you can use it unlimited. You can do everything and anything you've ever want to try on the T-Mobile network in any area domestically. If you go across into, I don't know, let's say Canada or Mexico, they will probably charge you and say, hey, we said stay here in the States. And no, unfortunately, States does not include Puerto Rico. So, but it does still include Hawaii, I'm sure. So, yeah, you can head over to Hawaii and try it out over there. But it's simple, and it is free as long as you return everything in pristine condition. So that was kind of cool. Also, they announced some network expansion, especially for, for the likes of VO LTE and just your run-of-the-mill wideband LTE. So if I could, I'll just mention a couple cities that are getting wideband LTE in the coming months. This will give you a peak download speed of 150 megabits. That's crazy. So Houston, Honolulu, Jacksonville, Mobile, Alabama, Tampa, and upstate New York. Also, they announced the VoLTE or VoLTE or Voice over LTE, and that is going to 15 U.S. markets: Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Long Island, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. So these are all going to roll out periodically, just the rollout happens. And I believe they mentioned that one of the first phones to take advantage of VoLTE is actually going to be the Samsung Galaxy S5. So that's pretty cool. And I don't know if the LG G3 is also going to take advantage of it. I don't know if there's any additional chipset that they're going to have to embed into the phone. I'm sure there is, because at the moment only the G5, the S5 can take advantage of it. But that's cool. I mean, this is just making the T-Mobile experience and the network that much better for existing customers and prospective customers. So that was part of Uncarrierized or Uncarrier 5.0. But then they still had like 40 minutes left to talk. Not that long. They still want to talk about something to really kind of disrupt the mobile networks. Like, what else can we do? Okay, so we're basically giving away 7 days for you to test out our network. That's awesome. We're also expanding. That's awesome. But all the companies expand. Expansion is, that's how we get more customers. We have to expand. What else can we do? Let's give something else away for free. What do people want for free? Music. Sure, why not? I mean, for me, like, if I'm not listening to podcasts, I'm listening to music. And the way that I listen to music is I have to download everything to my SD card and listen to it from there, because I don't have an unlimited data plan. and I don't want to listen to the latest Michael Jackson album and get hit with the data charge because I went over my allotment. And going to T-Mobile, yes, T-Mobile has unlimited data, but if I didn't want to pay for their unlimited data, I could save some money and just get, I think it's like 2 gigs a month. But what they did with Uncarrier 6.0 is they gave you essentially what they call music freedom. This is getting pulled from Fandroid.com, one of my most favorite places to go to get up-to-date information. So yeah, check it out. Essentially, music freedom gives you unlimited data for music streaming from favorite apps, including Spotify, Pandora, and a few more. I forget what the actual. Yeah, let's see. Is it that one? Okay, here we go. Pandora, Spotify, iTunes Radio. That's insane. iHeartRadio, Slacker, Rhapsody, and Samsung Smelks Music. Now, you might be saying, "Oh, well, I don't use any of that. I actually use Google Play Music." What's really cool on, I guess, T-Mobile's Facebook page is that they're offering the ability for you to go in there as a user and choose which music streaming service you would like them to be added to this free streaming list. And I put down Google Play Music because that's what I use. Second to this, for whatever reason, they said, wait, we've got more. We have our own streaming service that we've partnered with Rhapsody called Rhapsody on Radio. And Rhapsody on Radio is free to use if you're a T-Mobile customer on the Simple Choice or on the like unlimited everything plan. And if you're on some of the lower tier plans, you can also get it for only $4. And even if you're not a T-Mobile customer, you can get it for $4.99. So that's pretty cool. Basically, you have, I think they said 2 million or I forget. I have to look this up. But they said that you have a ton of different. Here we go. Huh. I can't seem to find it. I apologize, guys. Let's see. Let's see if I can see it here. If anyone explains how it would work. Well, essentially, there's no ads. There's no limit to your skipping. You can repeat a single song, which they really pointed out in all these other streaming radio like Slacker or I guess Pandora. If you want to listen to the Clash song over and over and over again, you don't have that ability even at the top paid level. Or I thought you did, but. I guess what they mean is on the free level, you don't really have any of these abilities. And so for free, if you go to T-Mobile, you would have these abilities without having to pay anything more, without hitting your data cap. So so that was that. So those were the two kind of big announcements. Whole music freedom if you listen to streaming radio. So if you're streaming radio advocate, guru, you go gaga for different streaming radio apps. You want to go to T-Mobile specific to these streaming radio apps where you would get it for free in the sense that you don't have to pay for your data allotment. What they did not go into was how you would tell the apps that you're a T-Mobile customer. I'm assuming similar to when I got my Verizon phone, I used the Slacker app that came with the phone, and because it came with the phone, within the app, it says, "Oh, you know, if since you're on Verizon, we give you this kind of cool discount where you can get rid of ads." That's what came with. So I'm a little afraid that all your phones in the future are going to have all these streaming apps that come with the phone. So it knows that if you're using this app on the phone that we've set aside for T-Mobile, that your data catch isn't going to be affected, or somehow through their billing system they'll know that you're using Slacker and not Google Play Music. I really don't know. So hopefully somebody in the near future, someone will uncover how all that will pan out. But what was interesting was, I think it was an editor from The Verge when they did a Q&A at the end that basically said, don't you feel that this is against net neutrality because you're giving specific streaming radio applications free service. So this basically makes the customer say, well, I'm going to go to those apps. And don't you think that people are going to be upset about that? And John Laguerre kind of twisted it and said, why would people be upset about something that's free? T-Mobile is fitting the bill, essentially, when you use the data aspect of it, and I'm assuming they're also having to pay Pandora and Spotify a little bit as well too to get rid of ads and things like that. What I think it was Chris Ziegler was trying to point out, or Z-Power on Twitter was trying to point out, was if you're an up-and-comer of a streaming radio app, let's just say Songgaza, for example, or Songza. I keep calling Songgaza, but I think it's Songza. Songza, which in the rumor mill has been rumored that they're in acquisition talks with Google. But assuming that doesn't pan through, if you use Songgaza and that's your favorite way to get music, you're gonna be hit with data charges just because you're not using one of the favorite apps. And that is what net neutrality is all about. Net neutrality says that you have a pipe, you have these apps, or you have these services, and no matter what the services is, if it's a very popular service, if it's a not so popular service, no matter what it is, it's going to go through the pipe at the same speed to everybody who wants to get it. This is basically telling those smaller up-and-coming streaming services, hey, you guys, you can still have your customers use T-Mobile, and you can still promote your stuff, but just so you know, you might not get a lot of subscribers on T-Mobile because all of our subscribers are using all of these other services, which are a lot more prominent and have had a much larger footprint and longer footprint than you have, Mr. or Miss Startup. So that's kind of the shot in the foot, where that's where net neutrality is really important, because if you don't have that, then there's no innovation. That they can't get the deals that T-Mobile is signing with these other larger name brand companies, and it really puts the up-and-comers in the dark. It really, why would I go use? Is Rdio on here? I don't even know if Rdio is one of them, but I know a lot of people use Rdio. So the case in point. So Rdio, I don't think Rdio is on there, and like I said, Google Play Music is not on there either. So in my case, if I go to T-Mobile and I want to listen to streaming radio, I don't mind Slacker, I don't mind Rhapsody, and I don't mind Pandora. I've just been using Google Play Music for so long, and even with as a paid user, it's like it would be nice to not have to deal with data caps and data throttling and things like that. And so I know I just mentioned that they have a method where you can vote up or down, well, not down, but you can vote up which streaming music service you would like to be added to this list. But if you're a brand new one, there's no way that you're going to get enough votes to be considered on the list of free streaming, at least not for the next 2 or 3, 4 years. I mean, that's how long it took Spotify here in the United States to get to where they're at right now. It took a while, It took at least 3 years for us in the United States to say, ooh, they're a really good service. We really don't do anything different than the other services. We just, in the tech community, we just kind of like gravitated to it because it was new and it was shiny and it was green. It wasn't blue, it was green. So there's that. And if you'd rather not use any of those services, but you want to use a brand new one, like I said, you can use Unradio, which is their Rhapsody brand. And I guess that's another option. It's just another option. Why not? Why not have another option? Or you can download, I guess, Amazon Music Prime, which that's free if you have Prime with Amazon, but it will count against your data. So let's just kind of rock back here just to see if there's anything else that I should have mentioned that I didn't mention. Okay, so free iPhone 5S test drive. LTE networks are being deployed and expanded upon, also in some areas with voice over LTE. You have free streaming radio with certain radio applications, and you can vote in your favorite streaming radio, like Google Play Radio or Google Play Music or whatever, or All Access. And then the new Music Freedom app with Rhapsody, the Unradio. So, and oh yeah, so that's all T-Mobile. Amazon pretty much covered it all, and then the Adobe Ink and Slide. So let's go back to what we looked at before, the Q&A, see if there's any questions here. Not at the moment. All right, so that was a little bit longer than I wanted to go, so I apologize if it seemed like I was rambling, but yeah, the T-Mobile one was very, very interesting to see what they thought would kind of disrupt the overall networks between T-Mobile and Sprint and AT&T. Oh, and one last thing, they did have a question in the audience regarding the whole T-Mobile Sprint acquisition, and like any good corporate individual would say, is I cannot comment on that. But but you know, we'll see. We'll see in the near future if that's something that is true. It'll be interesting after all this. It'll be interesting to see if it does pan out. So hit me up on lazytechguys.com or on Twitter, LTGTony, or you can find me here on Google+, Tony Hannity's, and I'd be happy to answer any and all tech-related questions. And if you guys want, you can definitely check us out on every Tuesday night on Lazy Tech TV on Google+. Also on, I guess that's pretty much it. So find us on Facebook as well, too. And I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.